Good evening and welcome to Between the Lanes, episode number 77. I'm Ron,
I'm Shane.
and it's just Ron and Shane this week. So let's get going. And again, welcome to Between the Lanes. Find us on YouTube, Slot Racers, the channel. We now have 77 episodes up, some how-to articles, or how-to videos, I should say. They're not articles. And special episodes along the way. On Facebook, we are Between the Lanes is the page. And the race results for last weekend, because I don't think I have any delayed results from the weekend before. The winning report, we will go to Whiskers Raceway in Gladstone, Illinois. Aren't you glad to be in Gladstone? The Midwest Spec Series was there, and they raced on the hill climb. And I think they run a couple classes on the small oval there. But in the Indy class, PJ Baltz was your winner. Toby Kindig was second, and Jason Plummer was third. In the Bombers class, which is a hard body class, Jason Plummer was the winner with Mike Kindig second and Dave Diamond in third. And I think Mike might be Toby's dad, but I don't have any confirmation. It's the first time I've ever seen him in any race results. So dirt late model, Dave Guyman was the winner. Paul PJ Baltz was second, and Toby Kindig was third. And in the GTP class, Phoenix GTP class, they use Phoenix Motors. Dave Fugate was the winner. PJ Baltz was second, and Toby Kindig was third, even though they're backwards in that photo from the rest of them. The Pin Jersey Series raced last weekend, last Sunday. Oh, I'm going to go back to that because I don't have any pictures. But in the Xfinity class, Bill Gearhart was the winner, Randy Core second, Blair Stem third. And in the Cup class, Randy Core was the winner, Blair Stem second, and Bill Gearhart third. So they all kind of swapped around between the two classes. And they raced at Trains and Lanes, I believe, in Easton, Pennsylvania. Northeast Nazareth was at Port Jeff Raceway. Long Island, New York, One Motor 12. Nicky Popo was the winner. Walter was second. Christopher was third. And in the Hillbilly 12 class, Chubby was your winner over Timmy Skirka and Nicky Popo. And then they raced two motor 15. Walter Berg was the winner. Doug was second, and Chubby was third. And then the Mid-South Slot Car Racing Association was at American Adrenaline. Is it Speedway or Raceway?
American Adrenaline.
Anyway,
yeah, I don't know.
Anyway, they're in Randleman, North Carolina, home of Petty Enterprises.
Yeah, that's down the road.
Speedway, right there it is, American Adrenaline Speedway.
Oh, yeah.
So in the 4-inch stock car class, Bobby Beachman was your winner, Guy Spalding second, Walker, who's absent, or he's writing an essay, so he's doing his homework. In the scale NASCAR class, which is 4.5-inch based chassis, Guy Spalding was your winner, Walker was second, and Timmy Boom Boom Bottoms was third. I wonder if he was dancing on the podium.
That's not Walker. It's Big Juicy, too. We have to use his official slot car nickname.
I'm sorry. I can't lower myself to calling him Big Juicy. So. In GTP, Bobby Beachman, I guess, showing off his Phoenix T-shirt, which we got a couple of those to give away later in the show. And he ran a Phoenix motor, so I think he was showing that. He had the new shirt and he had the motor. So Bobby Beachman was the winner in GTP. Walker was second. And they call him Dr. Carl Legaspi. He's the owner of American Adrenaline. He was third. And then in dirt late model, it was a big money Carl Burrow. He was your winner with Walker second. And Charles Darth Vader Eldridge, I guess, there in third. You got any comment on that? It's like two evils going on. You got Evil Knievel with the shirt, and then you got
it's a lot of evil.
The dark side evil force.
I know I've seen a post where he was thanking people for going home. That's what kind of moved him up in the standings.
Okay.
But I mean, he's gotten better. I mean,
oh yeah.
stoked about making the B main at the FNRS race, and I told him, I was like, you just keep doing it, dude. You'll get there.
Right.
You know.
And the British Slot Car Racing Association had their BOC races this weekend at Rockingham. In the this is the 32nd SA class, which I don't really know what the SA stands for. I don't know if it's a spec thing or. But Will Stenman was the winner, with Greg Harwood second and Josh Bryant third. And did that flip? Oh yeah, it flipped. And I guess Will Stenman also won the 132nd. I think this is the Eurosport class. If this isn't, it's well. It's you know what? Hold on. Okay, this was 32nd Eurosport. Will Stenman was the winner. Greg Harwood was second. Josh Bryant was third. And then in the 32nd F1 Euro F1 class, Josh Bryant was your winner. Paul Harwood was second, and Stan Alton was third. And I don't know. I think this is part of a series, kind of a national type series. I think the BOC stands for British Open Championship, but again, I'm not 100% sure. And the BRS Buckeye Retro Series was at Fast Tracks, Fremont, Ohio, on the 95-foot American Black Banked Royal track, the bull ring as we call it. In the Retro Angle Winder class, on the FK side of things, these guys used FK motors in their cars, Pro Slot FK motors. Track owner Chris Earnhardt on the left was the winner, and Jeremy Wyatt was second. In the big dog motor side of things, I was the winner, and Richard T was second. And overall, I was the overall winner with Chris Earnhardt second overall, and Richard T was third overall. And no one wore the Mexican hat. It hung on the wall. In Can-Am, I was the winner. Bud Bardos second. Richard T third. In Formula One, Bud Bardos was the winner. I was second. And the Boogeyman, who won the B main, wound up finishing third overall from the B main. So
he made the bump.
He made the bump. Batman Boogeyman. Checkpoint Cup was at Buena Park Raceway. I do not have all of the full results, so we'll have to recover this next week as well. In the coupe class, I believe they ran on a flat track. They normally do. Duran Trujillo was your winner. Brian Warmack second. Bill Vanderzeel was third, just beating out Gary Donahoe by a few sections. And then this was the F1 on the flat track. Duran Trujillo was the winner. Mil Conroy second. Dale Yamashita was third. Pretty tight race.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a close race.
In the top three. And then in F1 on the King track, not so close. Sam Rackham was the winner. Mil Conroy was second. Dale Yamashita was third. Mill and Dale Yamashita were close, but Sam Rackham checked out. So I have no Can-Am results and no Retro Pro results, so we'll follow up on this next week. In Pilsen, in the Czech Republic, where the world's fastest King track is, the big news of the weekend was that Brad Freisner, who set the world record there last year of 1.286, reset the track record this weekend at 1.283. So he knocked her down a 3,000ths, I guess. So, but still a big accomplishment. And then
I just seen the video come up, like in one of my histories.
Yeah.
Where he was there last year, it came up, and I looked. It's like, is this a new video? And I was like, nah, this is the old one.
Oh, well, the new video is floating around on Facebook, so.
Is it?
Yeah, it's not really much different than.
Yeah, I know that, but it's still cool to see. I mean, I know you don't. Yeah, I know. I guess that's just a.
If you look real closely, you can see the 3,000ths difference.
It's in the 90. I told you it's in the 90.
Oh, I don't know if you can see the car in the 90 in the video.
You probably can't see it. You can see it whenever he starts to roll on it, and then that's about it.
So in Group 27 Light, Peter Kirchhoff was the winner. Yuli was second, and Zenzik was third. I guess they must have only had 727 light cars because there's only 7 guys there. So they did not set a new world record in 27 light. They went 1.70 something, I believe. And then in the Group 7 race, Brad Freisner was the winner at 1,484 laps. Gugu was second at 1,451. And Jeff Sarkisian was third with 1,434, which that's really, I mean, there's 50 laps between first and third, but that's still pretty close for an open race.
Right.
And Gugu wasn't too far back from Brad. So don't know how many total Group 7 cars they had, but they did have a full field. And Jim Stevens was fifth in that race, and he's kind of moved up out of the 27 classes into the open classes now. So fifth place wasn't too bad for what I think might be his first open race since he's won the Nats.
Racing at that level.
Ezra Nats last September or August.
Is he the one that raced last year that did real well in 27 and said that he kind of accomplished what he wanted to accomplish?
Yes. Last year in Pilsen, he set the world record and won the race and set record laps in 27 light last year over there. So I didn't look up these lap totals compared to last year's lap totals. So I don't know if this year's lap totals, there was any new records or not. There was no mention of that. So, but that doesn't mean there wasn't. Everyone was excited about the 1.2863 or 1283 is what excited about. So, and the New England Retro Racing, they raced at Modelville in Ashland, Massachusetts. And in the stock car class, Vinny Cafazzo was your winner with Dom Luongo second, Gary Clinton Jr. in third. And in the F1 class, Keith Libby was the winner, Gary Clinton Jr. second, and Mr. Cafazzo, the young Vin, was in third. And winner, chicken dinner. That's your reports. And
Sunday.
Okay, so this weekend, there's a lot of races this weekend. You got the AWRA racing, Retro Races at Speed Zone, the Midwest Flat Track Series at Chicagoland, Penn, Ohio is at Washington. The weekend of the 9th. Oh, also this weekend is the Ohio Oval Series. They're at HMS in Bellevue, Ohio. Next weekend, the 9th, we've got Central Illinois Slot Series at Whiskers. We've got the JPM Performance Series at Pro Slot Raceway. And we have the 24-hour endurance race at Mark's Model World. And then the weekend of the 16th, Retro Races at Port Jeff. Yuska's Racing, Mid-America Hard Body Series is at Pro Slot. You got the Midwest Series at Real Speed in Fort Wayne. OCC is at Mark's Model World. ORS is at Tom Thumb. And AWRA is racing that weekend too. And then the last weekend of the month, you got the GUR Retro Series in Florida racing. F2000 is at Mid-America Naperville. And the Retro All-Star Races is taking place at HMS in Bellevue, Ohio. And the AWRA is racing that weekend too. So that kind of, lots of races coming up in February. So mark your calendars. We have another in memory deal. This is the worst part of the show for me. So last week, Jesse Kessinger, who was a longtime drag racer from Texas, Dallas area. I've known Jesse since, I want to say 1991 is when I met him at a drag race in Cincinnati, Ohio. And he was very instrumental in the beginning of DRS, Drag Racing Specialties, owned by Bob and Brenda Herrick. And Jesse was quite a talent. Jesse did a lot of the bucks or the molds for most of the DRS drag bodies and the early DRS Parma drag bodies. And he also was very good at doing mechanical drawings and drawings in general. And I seen some of Jesse's. Like Jesse was like he would draw stuff for patents when you apply for a patent. Just unbelievable that some of the stuff that I seen of his that he did. I mean, it's just when you look at something, you almost think it was a photograph that then someone took and charcoaled over or something, like
Right.
that effect. And that's what he did. And he's a man of a million ideas. A pretty fair racer. I wouldn't call him hardcore. He was serious, but
Right.
he wasn't over the edge like some of us are. So, but he always had a good time, and he was always fun to talk with and talk to. And yeah, I mean, he came up with a lot of neat things and ideas over the years for slot racing. So we will miss Jesse, and that's all I got to say about that. I mean, so last week we talked about we had a letter from Phil on YouTube. You want to know what a Cucaracha was, and we said last week it was a slot car that Cox produced in the '60s, and so then this week we'll show some pictures and we'll talk a little bit about it. We're not going to go into the history and all that stuff, but because that could be a whole different topic for another day. So Cox came out with the Cucaracha in 1966. And the Cucaracha was a ready-to-run slot car that again, don't hold me to this, but I think it retailed for like $12.98 or something, okay? So, or something like that, because a lot of them cars back then were from $9.98 to $12.98, and I think the Cucaracha came out at like $12.98. And, it had an injection molded plastic body that snapped on to the aluminum two-piece isofulcrum chassis, which it's kind of funny because one time me and Felipe got into a discussion about flexi cars, and he said how flexi cars were pieces of junk and blah blah blah, and it's like you had that same junk back in the '60s, like any two-piece chassis, whether it be a Garvik or a Classic or a Cox, those were actually like the flexi cars of the '60s because they were stamped and formed, and you put the two pieces together and hold them together some way and
Right.
made a ready-to-run car. I mean, so there's the bottom side of a Cucaracha, and they said they handled really good. Like when the Cucaracha came out, it obsoleted like most of the other ready-to-run cars, and it would give inline scratch-built cars a serious run for their money, and some tracks, some places. Now, again, never seen a big major race back in the '60s, one with La Cucaracha over a bunch of scratch-builts, but that's some of the rumors and folklore that you hear about La Cucarachas. So, one of the cool thing about La Cucarachas, and I believe every ready-to-run La Cucaracha sold came with the orange body. But Cox molded the bodies in different colors, and they called them crash-proof polypropylene bodies. And a lot of the raceways back in the days would have these La Cucaracha body boards in their raceway as a display showing the 6 colors that the bodies were available in at a certain time. So La Cucarachas were made from 66 up until 68, maybe early 69, I don't know for sure, but One of the things you will notice, I got to go back a picture here. The later, like the 67, 68 La Cucarachas had these extra fins added at the front of the body.
Diaplanar splitters.
Yeah. Where the 66, when they first came out, they did not have those little diaplanes or airfoils, whatever you want to call them. So, so anyway, they had these 6 different colors of bodies. Well, then there was also later in time, and I don't know, I'll have to do some research, but there was different colors besides. Now there was a super, what they call a super kook, super cucaracha, and it had like a roof. Like the body was a little different, and it had a roof that was chrome. And a lot of people confused those. And every super kook I ever seen was like a blue color. And these body boards were common back in the day. And I don't know, at some point, I wound up with a gold La Cucaracha body, which this is a brand new La Cucaracha body, never been used. But at some point they made gold, and I don't know whatever colors they may have made, but there was definitely 7 colors. And many years ago, probably 15 years ago, I had a purple La Cucaracha body. It was brand new. And I'm going to say 12 to 15 years ago, I put it on eBay, and it fetched $1,200.
Huh.
And I know these boards, if you can find one of these boards and they got all the original bodies on them, they can go for several. I think I heard a story of somebody paid $2,500 for a board that had all the bodies.
So here's a good one. I just thought about this. It's kind of funny. Mark's Model World in the bathroom. There's that eBay listing on the pinup board where someone was selling something. Was that one of these cars or bodies?
I don't know. Because the only thing I've ever noticed on that bulletin board in there has been race results.
Yeah, because it's like right above the race results.
Okay, I haven't noticed it. When I go there in 2 weeks, I'll have to pay attention.
Gotcha. If I remember, I'll tell you, take a look. Yeah, because it's just funny because you go in there, use the restroom, and it's like race results. All right, then it was like there, and it's like, wow, that sold for that much.
Right. So, like I said, we have some giveaways and some other tidbits and pieces to talk about. So, we'll do that. So, I noticed today that on the Mid-America Facebook page, they have a catalog of Mid-America products. They have a catalog spreadsheet or something of their products. And they announced today 3 new motors, maybe 4, but three new motors. One is called the Phoenix 25, which I believe would be similar performance-wise to the JK 25 motor. And the Eagle and the Retro Eagle motor. And I'm going to assume that the Eagle motor would be similar to the Hawk 7 motor. And the Retro Eagle would be similar to the Retro Hawk. And the most interesting thing was the Phoenix 25 is going to retail for $699. And the Eagle and Retro Eagle will retail for $999. So that's interesting. So we'll have to see. It said coming soon, so we'll see how soon. And
gotcha.
If they run good, that's going to be a bargain for racers. So
to do some testing.
Yeah, if you race those motors. And then, like I said, we have a couple of Mid-America T-shirts to give away here a little bit later. And that's kind of all I had in my notes. What you got?
You know me, I don't ever take notes. I just go with the flow.
But just think, $2 is what these sold for.
You made $1,200 off. I kind of like the blue and the pink one.
The magenta? I don't know what color. I think it was called magenta, but I don't know.
Gotcha.
And I remember when I used to go down to Cincinnati to Grand Prix Raceway in the mid to late 80s. It was owned by Joe Hutton and uh, Mr. Cedret, Tim Cedret. And they had some old stuff laying around. And I remember they had a Cucaracha bodyboard with the bodies in the showcase. They never, no, a lot of people say, hey, can I buy that? But back then we didn't know what it was worth. Just some people just
Right.
had a piece. So, but they never sold it. And as far as I know, it was still there when they closed the raceway. And whatever became of it, I have no idea. And Grand Prix Raceway was once Dell's Raceway, which was actually Bob Haynes's raceway that his dad ran, and they called it Dell's. And
Gotcha.
I think, I think when Bob first set it up, his son Kerry ran it, and then he went to college or something, and then Bob's dad ran it, and then at some point he sold it to Tim and Joe, and it became Grand Prix Raceway. So there was a lot of history there in the early days of the Tri-State USA.
Gotcha. I did look today and noticed the Flexi Palooza. I think there's 26 that have already committed.
That's
there
a
may
good
be
question.
more because I counted, and I think there was 26 that Ernie had posted.
I thought because I thought I had counted 30 or 32 last.
There may have been a couple more, like in the posts that they were in.
Well, okay, there's kind of two posts going on there. So let me real quickly.
And I also seen, I guess the announcement will be coming out soon for motors, tires, and bodies.
Well, I talked to Ernie last week, and there is a deadline for people who raced last year to put in that they're going to come back. I don't know when that deadline is or when it's going to.
I want to say it was like March, the 1st of March. I believe. That might actually be something for work. I may be mixing work up with racing.
The invitation will be open till Sunday, March 3rd. So PM me, meaning Ernie Mazzetti, to confirm or withdraw your entry by then. On Sunday, March 10th at 12 noon, entries will be accepted until a maximum of 64 racers per class is reached. And here is who's confirmed. Zach, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. So you were closer than I. I thought
26 guys out of 64. That's still a good bit of.
Well, yeah, okay. So last year I think we had 52 and 53 that actually showed up for the race. So, right. You got like half of the participation coming back.
Right.
And I still expect this year's race to be sold out. Totally.
I'm just ready for some pasta.
Yeah, because there's a lot of guys that are already like, I want to be in, but.
I've had guys ask me, like I had a guy messaged me today about going. He's like, have you ever been? I'm like, God, yeah, I've been. I was like, I love Mark's. He was like, why? He's like, is the track awesome? I was like, you can have a crappy day racing, but you're not going to leave hungry because the food's great.
That's always a Shane likes. It's all the food.
Oh, yeah. If I'm not running good or not having fun, I just go make a hot dog, and it's just like, whatever. At one FNRS race, we couldn't get nothing together or running good because we only had like 3 hours of sleep. Well, and I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to eat.
I think you guys were too busy eating. That's why you weren't getting your stuff going.
We needed sleep. That's what it was.
He has like the best pasta salad.
Oh yeah. I don't normally eat tomatoes, but there's tomatoes in that, and I eat it.
Yeah, there's something he does with that that's just like it's off the wall.
It's okay. That is homemade chili.
Right.
Yeah. And then it's donuts, and then it's chicken fingers, and.
Okay. So last night you were a little fired up.
I had to take extra. That's probably why I got a headache all day today. My blood pressure is a little high.
You were fired up about, would we say they were USRA announcements or what?
With rumors.
Well, okay. Well, let's put I I think several people, including you and probably myself, and were probably taken back a bit when Racing announced that amateur GT12 would be run using handout tires.
Right.
And that was like the first that anyone had heard that, I think. Well, yeah, publicly, I think it was. And I don't know
Right.
who all behind the scenes may have known or not known. I mean, we both heard the rumor that Group 10 was going to be handout tires when we were at the FNRS race.
Yeah, I've heard Group 10. I've heard L&P. And then I seen that post where all classes, and I was just like,
Well, did it actually say all classes? I just seen where it said amateur GT12 was going to be
nope,
run.
it said all classes ran on the King Cobra would be handout tires.
Okay. Now,
that's kind of when I hit the roof.
Okay, so I guess basically if that
Along other things in that post, it was a good post.
Right, but if that topic hadn't come up, when was we going to find out that all these classes were going to be run with handout tires?
Right.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't have a problem with or against handout tires. But in the case of the USRA, as I always say, they have to follow the rules. And there's nothing in the rules that there's nothing that says, there's no procedure, there's no provision or anything for handout tires in the scale classes.
Correct.
Okay. And if you're gonna, and I don't know what the reasoning is why we want to do handout tires. I don't know if it's we want to save guys money, or we want to make it easier on the racers, or we want the raceway to make more money. That's never came out. Okay. Mm-hmm. And I don't have a problem with any of those reasons for using handout tires, but it's not allowed per the rules. Okay, so if somebody wants to run handout tires in the future, fine. Someone needs to write their proposal up, and we need to vote on it. And if we vote it in, so be it. If we don't vote it in, so be it. But yeah, I mean, and what are we, 2 months from the race, 2.5 months from the race? I don't know exactly, but
roughly. I mean, you got 2 more days left in January, and it's February.
Okay, it's almost the end of April, so yeah, 3 months.
January.
Well, okay, yeah, that's what I meant.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, I got you now.
Yeah. Well, the Nats is at the end of April, so basically you got about 3 months before the Nats. You know, February, March, yeah, almost 3 months.
No, it's just like pre-show. I was showing you my car, so I'm going this weekend to test.
Right. So, I mean, when was it going to get sprung on everybody that we're going to do handout tires?
Right.
So, the Nats has never, scale Nats, never used handout tires.
Right.
Never really been suggested I know of. We've run handout tires on the wing car side.
Yeah.
For the majority of the classes the last 2 years, and prior to that for several years, handout tires were used in 1 or 2 classes.
Right.
And I think it's been successful on the wing car side. But no one has asked for that on the scale side. So if someone wants it, or there's someone should propose it, and we should vote them. And personally, if they vote to go to handout tires, I have no problem with that. Okay.
Right. Yeah, I'm the same with you.
It's not allowed to do it just to do it or to try it.
Right.
I would suggest if someone wants to try handout tires, maybe propose they try it in a class or 2 next year.
Right.
Works out really well. They can propose to do it in more classes the following year.
Because I even think in as one person told me today in my escapade or whatever, my rant.
Right.
That I even said that if it was in the rules, I have no problem with that.
Right.
I mean, I've flown to Michigan, handout tires.
Right.
I've drove to Concord, handout tires. So I went to Chicago, handout tires.
Right.
Yep. I don't have a problem handout tires. I don't have a problem with handout motors. It's just as long as it's in the rules.
Right.
Spec gearing, don't have a problem with spec gearing as long as it's in the rules.
Right. Well, again, I mean, I know all the right reasons for handout or spec tires. Handout tire is always what they are, should be. But at the same time, you have to follow the rules.
Right.
So, and so maybe someone will propose it. Maybe
Oh, yeah.
someone won't. I mean, anybody that's a member can propose. So,
Right.
if an official or a group of officials think that they should do it, then they should submit that or propose that, and
Oh, yeah.
then
Because I mean, honestly, if it was submitted and it was submitted for a class, depending on the class, I may say, yeah, I don't have a problem, but
right,
not all the classes, you know.
right, right.
So
So whatever is going to be done, they need to make an official announcement.
right.
What is or isn't happening? Let the chips fall where they may.
Because I know they just released the body, so that's good to know that at least we know what body is going to be ran in Group 10.
Yes, the 4-inch, yeah, Group 10 class, because that's a raceway choice
Yeah.
deal, and I guess we're going to use the out of sight number 354 Monte Carlo, which is the same body they used last year, and they've used that body a few other times in the past. And I guess one good thing about using the body again is guys that have them from last year, if they're coming to the Nats, they can use them this year. So that's one plus. But
If I had a couple extra in my box of bodies, I painted up to go this week in the tryout and test.
right.
So
So yeah, we'll see what happens. But yeah, I mean, you got to get it in gear, crew. You got to get all these announcements out there because the clock is ticking. And if
yes,
you're not going to follow the rules, then you're going to take some shit over it.
yeah. Sorry.
Well, I mean, hey, if the racers have to follow the rules, the guys running the organization have to follow the rules.
Right.
There's nowhere it says they can just change whatever for whatever. So,
Oh yeah. That's just like in the whole post thing, you know. I may have gotten carried away with some people, and then some people, I basically told them exactly how I felt, you know.
right.
And those who know me and actually know me, because a lot of guys like big races, I'm generally quiet. I don't bother people. But the local crew, you know, they know me. I can be outspoken. I can be a little on edge,
Right.
but I get my point across, you know.
Well, if everybody followed the rules, then there wouldn't be no bitching.
Right.
Okay. And yes, there will be bitching about rules, but those rules can be changed
Right.
going through the right channels and the right ways to
See,
do it.
that's the thing. Would you consider it bitching about a rule that's not really a rule? Because it's not a rule. I don't think, you know.
Okay. Say that again.
So if it's not a rule, right?
All right. Give me an
Would it really be?
example. Give me an example.
So for like the tire thing,
Okay.
it's not a rule.
To use
So what
handout
is
times.
right? So why should we bitch about it? It's not a rule. There's nothing to, you know,
Oh, no.
other than
I think
saying, hey, why are
the better way to say it is, why are we going to do something that's not allowed by the rules?
right? I think that's kind of what I posted was
Okay. So when you do things that's
right,
not allowed by the rules or the rules don't call for it, then that's when you get the bitching.
right,
Okay. And that's rightfully coming. Okay. Now,
right,
if everyone's sitting there saying at the race, or let's say we're at a race somewhere else, or even with the Nats, we're all there as a group and we're shooting the shit and we're saying,
yeah,
you know what, it sure would be nice if we ran handout tires.
right,
Okay. And some people might say, well, they're bitching because we don't allow handout tires, or there's, well, let's propose the rules and take a vote.
right. Because the 3 races I've raced last year that had handout tires. The only one, and this is just me, that I had a problem with the handout tires, and it wasn't the tires itself, it was just the not knowing, because there was like 3 tires I tested that I was told these are the handout tires, was the Flexi flats.
Right.
You know?
Right.
I mean,
Yeah, the communication there wasn't
Flexi Palooza, no problem.
right.
You know, the Phoenix Fiesta, no problem.
Right.
Flexi Fiesta, these are the handout tires. So I ordered a couple of those.
Right.
Nope, these are the handout tires. I ordered a couple of those. And by the third time, I was just like, this is
Yeah,
getting a
because
little
there was
annoying.
some wrong part number or something originally, and
Yeah, I mean, it was an honest mistake.
right.
Like,
But you went out and bought tires, a good
yeah,
thing.
yeah,
Only to find out that now no, we're going to use this tire.
right.
Then to find out again, well, we made another mistake.
It's like I'm wasting a lot of money and a lot of testing for nothing. Not saying it would have changed my performance, but still, you know what I mean?
Right.
So,
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I mean, I see all
because
the.
you were there, and those people there knew that weekend for me was not a good weekend.
It was not a good weekend for sure.
No,
But
I still had fun. I enjoyed dinner
yep.
and ice cream. Ice cream makes it all better.
But yeah,
Last
I
night
mean,
after my episode, I had an ice cream. True story.
I see all the pluses in handout tires.
Oh yeah.
But and even I don't know if I can. Well, I mean, if the rules said the classes were handout tires, I wouldn't have a problem with that if they said that. But because the rules don't say that, and now you're going to force people into doing something.
Right. I mean, if the rules say that, it would still have to be voted.
Right.
So I mean, it just can't be something they write in.
Right. See, that's the thing. If you just come into office and you follow the rules as they are,
Mm-hmm.
no one can really bitch. They can only bitch when you start changing things when you have no reason or no power to change them.
Right.
So,
I mean, it's the same like whenever I ran the Mid-South Series. I did everything by vote. I never once used, I don't really know if it was an authority I had or whatever. I always did everything by vote.
Right.
We'd have a driver's meeting. We would vote on it. Majority, same thing. I never would just say, hey, this is what we're doing because.
Right. Or because you want to do it.
Right.
Oh, well.
So.
All right. Anything else?
Not really. No.
Should we give?
We got to give away. We should give away. Y'all need to give away sweaters. Cold as it is up there.
We need quilted jackets.
Yeah, because I was gonna say y'all are in the minuses. We're in the 50s.
Yeah.
Come on down.
Let's give away a couple of T-shirts. You will contact Roger at Mid-America Raceway or Mid-America Products on Facebook to get your T-shirts. And the first winner is Mark. I want to say it. I've met him and everything. Mark Monahan, and he owns the raceway in Elkhart, Illinois, Route 66 Model Raceway. And I believe they use those motors because the Midwest Spec Series runs there, so they run Phoenix motors there. So, Mark, you got a free T-shirt. Get a hold of Roger. And the second winner is Dave DeCoster.
Oh, Dave.
Of the Detroit, Michigan area. Contact Roger for your free T-shirt. T-shirts.
I still remember the first time I met Dave.
Super nice guy.
New Jersey Nats. He was outside. I think he was having a smoke break, and I went outside just to get a. When I went to the New Jersey Nats, I was sick as a dog. I don't know what it was, but like I was like sinusy. Here's a funny story about that. So me and Bobby, we go there and we're testing, and Bobby, I mean, the top of my box was like a pharmacy. I had heartburn stuff. I had nose spray.
When you said pharmacy, I was thinking all the tire bottles.
Oh, nah. But nah, I mean, it was just, Bobby was like, and I didn't sleep like the first 2 days we were there because I was so jacked up about being at the Nats.
That was your first Nats, wasn't it?
Now it's the second.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, because I went to 2010.
Chicks.
The Chicks Nat was a good Nat. It didn't have the caliber of racers the New Jersey Nats had. And I walked in and Paul Gronsky's right there, Gugu, all those guys. And it's like they weren't at Chicks.
Okay, so timeout.
Mhm.
Was your first Nats the USRA Nats or AMSRA Nats?
USRA Nats.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, because 2010 was Chicks, and then 2012 was the AMSRA Nats. And then my first Division I Nats was 2016.
Okay.
But I couldn't breathe. I was sinusy. And Bobby was like, let's take a break, go get some lunch, and we'll go buy somewhere. We'll get you some decongestion spray. And I was like, dude, I got this stuff up here. It ain't working. Like, I'm blowing my nose, and I'm just, I'm miserable. So, and he was like, you need some of that nose spray. And I was like, I've never did that. He's like, nah. And I was like, nah. He's like, oh, that's great. I was like, don't people get addicted to that stuff? And he's like, I guess. I don't know. I was like, all right.
Some people do.
So we go. I can see why they do. And this is the funny thing. We go in there, and we're looking, and I'm just like, I'm half sick. And I'm like, all right, half sick, half sleepy, and I find some. So we get in the car, and I'm peeling it open. He's like, oh, you're about to do it now? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, hang on. I'm like, what? He puts the car back in drive and pulls back into the parking spot. And he's like, all right, in park. He took his seatbelt off. I was like, what are you doing? He's like, dude.
I'm getting ready to bed.
He's like, if I start laughing or you make a noise and I start gagging, I'm out. So I roll down the window, and I got this little thing. Car next to me, I squirted all over the car. It's like, ooh, that's got a good stream. And he started laughing. And he's like, you doing it? And I was like, I'm doing it. One nose, two nose. 2 seconds later, I was like, wow, I can breathe.
So was it Dristan or was it Zycad?
Zycam.
Okay.
Yep.
See, back in my day when I was a little boy, Dristan was the big one.
Right. But I mean,
it looked like it was in like an Elmer's glue bottle, but smaller, and you'd stick it up in your nose.
Yep. Yeah, that's what it said. It said, you had to go in so far.
Yeah.
And then I squirted it, and you're supposed to hold your nose, and I held my nose, and I was like, well, this shit ain't working. My nose was running more. And he was like, well, you probably got to blow your nose. Blew my nose. I was good to go. I was like, let me read the back of this thing so I don't OD on nose spray. And it was like every 4 to 6 hours you could take more.
So I've used the Zycam or Zycad, whatever it's called, but I've used the sticks. I've never used the spray.
No, I went hardcore. I went for the spray.
But the sticks work pretty good. I had good luck when I've used it, or not going.
I don't know.
I haven't had to use it for a few years.
I don't know if it was the climate change or what it was, but like we got there, and nice hotel. I could not sleep the first night to save my life. I would sleep 5 or 10 minutes, and I was up. Bobby woke up one time, looked at me. He was like, you haven't slept, have you? And I was like, nope. And he's like, this is going to be interesting. Alarm clock went off at 6 o'clock, and I was shot out of a cannon. Kind of like the FNRS race when you were like 4 hours sleep, Shane. Relax a little bit. Like, sorry. Yeah. Some mornings you get that, Shane, and some mornings you get the wake up and look at you, and you're like, yeah, this isn't going to be a good day.
Yeah.
Nope. So, little history of Shane, or as Skeeter calls me, Sugar Shane. I haven't heard that one in a while.
Sugar Shane, Big Juicy, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, yeah. Bobby the Water Boy, you're the devil. What else do we got? Big money.
Big money. Good
times. Going racing this weekend? I guess this is kind of like the ending of the show, so we'll just chat it out.
Weekend off. I kind of thought about
going racing this weekend. Did you mention the Mad Fast race? I just thought about that.
No, you know what? I forgot about the Mad Fast race. Because, and you know what I need to go to, because they have a Facebook page now. I need to go over there. And
Josh.
I know, and I need to jot those dates down on my calendar.
Right.
Because they're not on my calendar because there was no page, and you never seen.
When he started it, and I told him, I shouldn't say I told him, it was suggested, and I was one of many who made the suggestion. You need to get a Facebook page and get this,
Well, okay, what I'm going to suggest to all of our listeners
Mhm.
is that if you are on Facebook, and I gotta believe most of you are, like I'm gonna slowly give you a list of. There's the Mad Fast series,
Right.
the Mid South Racing Association. There's the Penn Ohio Retro series. There's the Buckeye Retro series. There is the Midwest Flat Track series. There is the Central Illinois Slot series. There's the Midwest Spec series.
In
Um,
Jersey,
in Jersey, there is New England Retro Racing.
there's the GUR.
Yep, the GUR, GRRR. There's Retro East has a page. ORS has a page. Ohio Challenge Cup has a page. Um,
FNRS.
FNRS has a page. USRA has a page. NASRA has a page. Northeast NASRA has a page. And I'm going to stop there because
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
but you need to go like those pages. You don't have to follow them, but you can like them. And when they post up, the East Coast Flexi series was one. USCA's another one that just came to my mind.
AWRA, the Womp Womps.
AWRA. I mean, we could go on for hours here.
Yeah.
Okay, but you need to go and like those pages because you will see photos of race results in cars and
Right. Sometimes that's what I enjoy looking at. Just
right, and you can see what other people are doing and winning with, and that should help your racing program. And, there's if you're drag racing, there's got to be 50 drag racing pages.
there's a couple of drag race sites that I like. Just
Yeah, you too.
Detail they put in those bodies.
Yeah, there's like Wesson Benz and
And there's a couple of painters too that have pages.
right. There's tons of pages. You can always message the show and say, I'm looking for this type of racing. We can tell you where to go look. And then, there's the British Slot Car Racing Association has a page. And that's where we get a lot of our info for the show is from these pages and the photos.
I mean, I've even liked pages from Brazil.
And there's tons of raceway pages too.
Yep.
I'm not even starting on that one, but
yeah, I gotta say.
So, Ohio Oval Series is another one that has a page. Don't be mad if I didn't say your name.
Right. There's a lot of them.
I did not
the whole
prepare
time
a
I'm
list.
thinking, I'm like, yeah.
I didn't prepare a list. So anyway, yeah. The more pages you get on, the more you're going to see and the more you can learn from. And you might want to ask a question, send a question, or it's just more ways to communicate. And, then there's other pages like Slot Car Race Talk, which, we got, I think it was yesterday, we hit the 4,000 member mark, which is kind of remarkable for a page to have 4,000 people on it. So, and they're all slot car people. It's not like anyone. I mean, basically, you're not added to that group unless you're already connected to slot racing in some other group or page or something.
Right, so you don't have a bunch of riffraff,
stuff
like that.
A lot of those people that come in there, I think, are they want to go in there and put those advertisements up for sunglasses and stuff like that.
Ray-Bans.
Yeah. So basically, if they have no previous interest in slot cars,
right,
they don't get added until.
It's kind of like me. I've noticed since I did the show, I've gotten a few friend requests, and that's like the first thing I do is, all right, who do we have in common as far as friends?
Right.
And if it's like we have no one in common, no, I'm not.
Right.
But then if I look and it's like, all right, we got like 30 friends in common. They're all slot car racers. I'm like, oh, it's just another fellow slot car guy.
Right.
So
lots of information on Facebook. tons of information on Facebook about slot. I mean, and then you've got like,
You can just go through to the search bar and put in slot cars, and it'll give you a list of stuff.
You got like the thingies page if you're into thingy cars, and
right.
Then there's the retro page, which is the guys in England, and just tons and tons of. There's like,
remember when I first got into Facebook, it was just like I was like a kid in a candy store. It's like, wow, this has got to. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, I would spend hours just like looking at reading articles and just.
Yep. So they always talk about slot cars and exposure, and how if slot cars could get more exposure, we could be a bigger hobby sport.
Right.
And I don't think, and I don't know if "don't think" is the right. I don't think that slot racing has enjoyed the exposure that it's currently getting on Facebook.
Right.
Of any other time in the past 20 years.
Did you see? I think I remember there was a recent post from a wing car race over in Germany. And in the post, it said this post has had over like 17 million views on YouTube.
Yeah. Well, that might be the wing car championship race.
It was
Finland or something.
It was. I know it was over in Germany, but I remember looking at that, and I remember just scrolling through briefly, reading it, saying that this post has had X. It may not have been 17 million.
Well, slot car racing is getting tons of exposure on Facebook, more than it's.
I mean, that's like me. Whenever I got on Facebook and I started sharing all this stuff, there was a couple of guys, because I mean, at one point in the early 90s, we had a track here, and I'm friends with some of those guys.
Right.
And they ask, "Wow, where's this at?" And I tell them, "Well, I'm older now and I'm traveling, so."
Right. So yeah. So explore and expand.
And share, because you never know who's on your friends page that never knew.
Right.
And I can remember the first time I brought my stuff to work. It was like 1,000 degrees outside, and I was like, I'm not leaving my stuff in my truck. I brought it inside, and one of the guys at work, "What's that?"
Right.
I opened the box and showed it to him. He's like, "Oh, I remember this from a kid. Where do you do this at?" And I told him it was in North Carolina. And he's like, "Wow, you travel?" I was like, "I've been everywhere." And he couldn't believe it was still going on.
Right. And not to mention that almost every manufacturer has a Facebook page. So you can find out what's going on with your favorite manufacturers, or maybe learn about different parts and pieces out there.
Right.
So there's tons of information out there. And I mean, it's discussed every day.
Yeah. The good and bad.
Right. Yeah, good and bad. And again, if you like a page, join a group, you're getting too many notifications of when someone posts something, you can unfollow the page, which means you're not going to get the notifications. But you'll have to go there and check in to see what's new. But you can do that. And, you can join these groups. You don't have to post or be active. I mean, just go on and read.
There's plenty of sites that I don't comment or don't.
Right. And if you see something and you like it. Just give it a like.
Yeah.
So that's all you got to do. And you can, like I said, there's a ton of information on there. It's just amazing.
And it's all free.
I learn about stuff every day that I'm interested in and I don't have an interest in, So that's our tips for this week. What's the secret word of the show?
Facebook.
Okay. We haven't used it because I thought earlier we might use handout, but means that was bad. But no, we're going to go with Facebook.
Gotcha.
That's what you picked.
Next week, you pick the word.
Oh, okay.
But you got to give me credit. The last two shows, I've been on the money with the words.
That's all right. You have been. Shane, I'm giving you credit. That's it for this week. We will see you next week. If you're going racing this weekend, have fun. Good luck. Be safe.
I'm going practicing full report.
Bingo. We will see you next Wednesday.
Have a good night.